Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to give my technically first impressions, but I'm just going to make this a review because Volume 2 is not going to be much different. But this is What's Michael, the Fat Cat Collection Volume 1. There will be 2 of these collections put out by Dark Horse. This series is by Makoto Kobayashi. This is a very old series, which has been released by Dark Horse many times. It was originally released in, I believe, Super Manga Blast was the magazine that Dark Horse had back in was it the early 2000s or late 90s, or it was probably early 2000s. They were releasing it in this magazine with other series as well. And then Dark Horse put out like individual, they're kind of shorter volumes as they were released in Japan. They were putting those out here as well. I believe in like the early mid 2000s. And then the Fat Cat Collection is a newer edition because those other ones are all obviously out of print. And so they've collected all of the mini volumes into these larger collections. And like I said, there will be a second volume of this. I believe that will be all of it. And that doesn't come out till mid-late 2021. So, I figured I'd make the review now so that you can pick this up before this one goes out of print, because we all know how Dark Horse operates. But What's Michael is basically about this cat and various cats who all seem to be named Michael and all look the same. And it's just really short stories about cat shenanigans, and it's hilarious. The art style, as this was written, I think it's from the 80s. I could be wrong. It might be earlier than that or slightly later, but I'm pretty sure it's from the 80s. Just ridiculous cat shenanigans. And it's very funny. This is one of the Yakuza ones. So my favorite stories in this collection all revolved around these 2 Yakuza men. One of them has a cat who he's obsessed with, but he doesn't want his underlings to know that he's obsessed with cats, because then they wouldn't be as intimidated by him, and they wouldn't respect him as much if they knew he slept in his cat onesie and sleeps with his cat, and his life revolves around his cat. And then the other Yakuza boss, who is the enemy or rival to him, he's terrified of cats, absolutely terrified. And so it's hilarious, all of the Yakuza centered stories. They're so funny. But yeah, it's just a fun classic series that kind of was the precursor to all of the series that we have now, like Cheese Sweet Home and oh god, there's tons of them now. There's so many cat series. Oh, I love this one when he's dancing with the ribbon. But yeah, it's just different families all owning these different cats, most of which are named Michael. And it's hilarious. Highly recommend it. I'm not very much of a cat person. I love my dog very much, but funny enough, as I bought this, my brother moved back home with his fat orange cat, named Steve. So as I'm reading this, I'm experiencing a very similar looking and acting cat in my own home, and it was very funny for me. But again, not much of a cat person myself, and even I found this very enjoyable and very funny. So, and it's just a classic series that I really wanted in my collection, but obviously couldn't get my hands on the other Dark Horse releases of them. And so when this was announced, I was quite excited and willing to pick this up, because I know that Laura over at Manga Hoarder had been picking up the single editions as she was finding them used around. And it was just something that always intrigued me. And then I saw that Shay over at Shay Geeks Out had picked this up, and I didn't know it was even out, and she had shown it briefly in one of her videos, and I went, ooh, I didn't know that was releasing. And so I picked it up immediately because I was very interested. There's a lot of content in here too. It's quite a large volume, and it's very well put together, as most of Dark Horse stuff is. So Highly recommend getting it while you still can. And then, when volume 2 is released, the second half of the collection, highly recommend that one as well. Even though I, of course, have not read it, but I'm sure it will be more of the same funny shenanigans. But they're very short, so they're good to read. Like, I was reading them in the bathroom, or, right before bed to just cheer myself up right before I had to go to sleep. A couple stories of these will get you chuckling and a good way to start the morning or end your day. So, yeah, if you've read What's Michael, love to hear your thoughts on it. Otherwise, thanks for watching.